Okay, so why did you become a divorce attorney?
I, as you mentioned when you were doing your introduction, did not grow up thinking I would be a family law lawyer. In fact, as I was going through my very high conflict divorce, my pastor at the time looked at me and said, because I wasn't working, and he said, "Anne, you're going to become a spiritual divorce lawyer." And I looked at him and I said, "There is no way in hell I'm going to do that." I wanted nothing to do with family law as I was going through my own very high conflict divorce. But I was called to do this, Michelle. I had been a corporate litigator working at a very large international law firm, as was my ex-husband. And we went through what can only be described as just a horrific divorce, partly because, or largely because we were both trained litigators. We were in court about every 6 weeks for 5 years.
Wow.
And it was just a battle. And the children suffered greatly. We have 3 children. And so at the end of it, I wanted to help women. I started a support group. You mentioned that. Not with the idea that I would be a family law attorney, but just wanting to give back. And through that process, one of the gals in the group asked me to represent her. And I was really able to be super effective because of my training in the courtroom, but largely because of my experience as a mom and as a wife. And so I realized that I could be really helpful. And then I wrote my book. And from that point, my practice just grew organically. So I feel really fortunate to be able to do what I love, which is to help other people move through this process.
Yeah, that sounds like the perfect alchemy for a great divorce attorney. And I love that you both wanted to out-litigate one another. Or I don't love it because it's exactly what probably made you start this book. It's just all the acrimony.
Yes. So I'm a big believer in what's called the collaborative process. And this is where, and I'm trained in this manner of moving through divorce. And when we utilize this method, both the lawyers and the parties sign an agreement that they won't go to court. And so that immediately takes a lot of the angst and strum out of the process. It's usually about 40 to 50% less expensive, but most importantly, we can arrive at creative solutions without battling it out in a courtroom. And so when someone comes to me, I spend a fair amount of time talking with them to understand whether they're a good candidate for the collaborative divorce process, because I believe so strongly in it. And there's only really a few situations where I'll advise someone that I don't think it is a good idea. And that would be if in the collaborative process, everybody relies on each other being transparent and honest. So if someone, for some reason, whether it's a substance abuse issue or other issues where they can't show up and collaborate and be open and transparent and honest, then the process isn't going to work, because I don't have the ability to conduct discovery, take depositions, issue subpoenas, or go to court, which would otherwise move the process along. But I have found that for the clients I represent that utilize the collaborative process, those typically are my happiest clients, because they often can walk away and still maintain a relationship with their ex-spouse, and particularly where there's children involved and co-parenting is necessary, not just to the age of 18 when a child reaches the legal age of majority, but basically forever. This is a very effective way to engage in a co-parenting and collaborative process moving forward.